What's going on, boys and girls? What's up, world? Austin John Plays here, and it is Zelda month! It's Zelda month now, because it's November. It's also No Shave November, so we're gonna let this bad boy grow out. For our first Zelda month special, I thought it'd be really fantastic to go over your ideas for the next Legend of Zelda game. I posted on the community tab on what you think should be in the game, and there was no hesitation of replies. Over 1,000 comments, 1,000 different ideas, and I went through them and I chose 45 of those greatest comments. I'm going to give you my opinions on them. Some of them are fantastic, some of them are a little silly. All of them are for Legend of Zelda. It's gonna be a little bit longer of a video, but hey, it's the Zelda community. You guys are amazing. You guys like to see plentiful content. If you played 300 hours of Breath of the Wild, you want a video longer than 7 minutes. I hope. Only the viewer retention time will tell. So go ahead, put this over in the other tab, get your productivity on or whatever else, leave your phone down, make sure it's plugged in, and let's hop into it. First one, Ocarina Time remake. I think that'd be fantastic. We just got an Ocarina Time remake for the 3DS, but we haven't had one for a home console in quite some time. If they are doing an N64 classic, we might see a little hesitation on re-releasing it after re-releases, but I feel like a couple years from now they could bundle Ocarina Time and Majora's Mask together. That'd be pretty dope. The most death-like, terrifying Shadow Temple that Nintendo could possibly produce. So the Shadow Temple from Ocarina of Time was a little interesting. It definitely had some spooky elements to it, but it was over very, very fast, and it did seem a little animated. Of course, the game was animated, but now with everything that they can do, they can make it completely blacked out. Some areas of Trial of the Sword in Breath of the Wild were even spooky, so like, I think they could do some pretty interesting stuff. Female protagonist, right, Lewis? So we have Linkle. Linkle's already been introduced to us. We could totally have at the beginning of the game, you get to choose if you want to be a male or female protagonist. As far as female goes, Linkle's already made. That seems like a pretty easy swap right there. Done. A version when you can get the Bow of Light, you actually have an ending where you don't fight the boss a second time, and a way to go to the other dimension like Twilight and Majora's Mask. Alright, so there's a lot to go over here. A version where you could get the Bow of Light. The Bow of Light is really dope. Unfortunately, it's too OP to the point that you really wouldn't want any other weapons. You actually have an ending where you don't fight the boss a second time. Postgame would be fantastic. I just think about like old Final Fantasy games like Final Fantasy VII, how you save right before the final battle. Spoilers, it's Sephiroth. But then like you load up the game and you're still at that same save. Like, the game doesn't know that you actually beat it. I think some post-game would... It's long overdue. And a way to go to the other dimension like Twilight and Majora's Mask. I think what Mega Incineroar is saying is you're playing the game and then at one point you travel to the Twilight realm or to Termina for Majora's Mask. That'd be pretty neat. It would require a lot more coding and you would have a lot more to go on, but definitely awesome. Julian says, a more complex story combined with the open world aspect of Breath of the Wild. Well, no secret, Breath of the Wild was absolutely amazing, but a more complex story combined with it. Instead of just we travel from one location to a next, we have people along our journey kind of lead us in directions and maybe multiple quests that we can do at the same time. The first thing that comes to mind is like a Bethesda game like Fallout or Skyrim, something like that. That would be pretty amazing. Tristan says a sequel to Breath of the Wild where you can explore the lands outside of Hyrule. So think of the entire map of Hyrule, right? And you have the entire map going around and everything else. Imagine being able to hop on a Loftwing or one of the dragons and being able to go to like Skyloft area or being able to fly to a different area, but it's only accessible through that, and that's post-game. I think that'd be really dope. Kind of like, think about Mario Odyssey and how after the game, you got to go to the Mushroom Kingdom, which is a throwback, and then you also got to go to other moon locations. So there's already the Nintendo footwork for the idea, right? Sig Scat Rizzy Cat Razzie says, fishing, boat, the possibility to go underwater, a much deeper story, more enemy, a sort of repairing system for the weapon, a companion, the Breath of the Wild sequel, or the 10,000 Years Before Breath of the Wild prequel. Wow, okay, another one, lots of things. Fishing, that'd be dope because we already have hunting, even though it's sort of a shallow mechanic. A boat, so a nice way to go from one area or over water to the other without you having to do cryonis or, you know, take a Korok leaf with you because that's a little annoying. The possibility to go underwater, which we all know the game was missing that. A much deeper story, agreed. More enemies. That's an interesting one. No one really points that out, but Breath of the Wild, I think, only had 6 or 7 different types of enemies. And then it just had variations. Either the dead versions or higher up versions, but that was it. And a repairing system for the weapons, that'd be really awesome. Either breaking down current weapons for components and parts and being able to craft that into your current weapon, or you need to take 2 of the same weapon and then it becomes a more powerful version. That'd be really awesome. A companion system. So like, say for example, you're running through the world as Link and like Linkle is with you in the same way that Wolf Link was. That'd be really neat. Breath of the Wild sequel or a prequel for the 10,000 years before. Now we're just talking about when the game should take place. Stubby Tiny Fingerprints says, just saying, I thought Breath of the Wild was the best game I ever played. However, I'd like some more RPG elements included, skill trees, levels, etc. I love the idea of getting to play as different characters for the story, and maybe some multiplayer aspects. The first thing that pops out is the RPG elements. Think of the new God of War. How Kratos, instead of just getting, you know, the dungeon item and then making his way through, he got to level up. And when he did, he got to unlock certain abilities. He got to use them in different ways. That'd be pretty dope. I would be all for that. The battle techniques that you learn from Twilight Princess, yeah, that'd be really dope. And play as multiple characters, in addition to just the gender swap between Link and Linkle. So think of Breath of the Wild, except like, when you're in the Zoran area, you talk to Sidon, right? And then you can run around as Sidon. And he has his own specific moveset and everything else, and you could travel as far as you want as him. Except for maybe like going into a different quest of a different champion. And then they also have their own abilities, like obviously Sidon would swim super fast. Oh, and that socially awkward Goron kid who's my spirit animal, he could like roll around like the Gorons could. That'd be neat. CSR Carson says that all the Links, Skyloft, Wind Waker, Ocarina, Twilight, etc., joined to fight all their Ganons. Huh. This is kind of painting like a really big picture of something, combined with a couple of the comments that we've seen before, and I think at the end of the video I'm gonna kind of summarize it and paint a picture that'd be really, really dope, and I think everyone would want to see. But being able to have multiple Links in the game, and like they all have like their own signature weapons and stuff, heck, the same way that I just mentioned, we could have the champions in there. Also, I want to go and mention that like there was over 1,000 comments. I read through every single one of them that had at least 1 like, which you could have liked your own comment. It's like giving yourself a high five. So these 45 comments are like 45 of the top 600 comments that I went through for you guys. Yes, I read all my comments. Thomas says, no more rain. Well, listen, you can't make it too easy, right? I thought the rain was a fun challenge. Maybe it distracted you and some other event happened. Anthony says, actual boats, a bigger world multiplayer, and the ability to swim underwater. Well, we covered underwater and some boats. Multiplayer. I don't know how I feel about multiplayer. When I think of multiplayer, I think of like Hyrule Warriors, where like multiple people are working on the same mission, but I don't think multiplayer would work very well in a Zelda game, because Zelda games, at the end of it, they're an action adventure, but they're also a puzzle game. Having multiple people work on a puzzle, it's like having too many chefs in the kitchen. Yoi Tashiko says, a deeper and darker story. I just realized that might be Yui, I'm not too sure, so sorry about that. A deeper and darker story, well, we all know Breath of the Wild was lacking anything resembling a story, but I would definitely love to see a story back, and a darker story. I'm just turning around real quick. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that... yeah, Twilight Princess was the only one rated T for teen, and the rest of them were rated E for everyone. This is the ESRB American ratings. And it was a darker story, and it actually had a higher rating. As in, you know, it's supposed to be for, I think it's suggested for 13 and above. Definitely long overdue. Cleric557 says, open world again. 100%. David P, crafting mechanics. So I was mentioning it before and I actually just started thinking about it more. What if, like, as you go through the world, and I hate to reference Bethesda again, but like in Fallout and in Skyrim, where you run into an enemy base and they have these random materials lying around, or there's a fallen tree, or, well, no, you're already gathering wood by destroying trees, but like also able to do that with various metals. You already have precious stones. That could be a really dope crafting mechanic. Thank you, David. Bobby says, quality of life update in the user interface. For example, selecting multiple items to sell, then selling them, instead of selecting each item one at a time. Telling it to sell, then hitting yes to sell, and then starting the process over and over and over again. 100%, Bobby. We all know Nintendo kind of has their own system of things, but like a little quality of life stuff like this, it goes a really long way. Really long way. I mean, granted, they kind of make it so it's a little bit safer and you don't accidentally sell something that you didn't mean to. No risk, no reward, right? Wesley says, this seems weird to say, but I kind of miss having a direction to go. Whether it was a time changing in Ocarina of Time, or new islands available in Wind Waker, or even something like new areas in Twilight Princess. I understand how amazing it would be to be able to go to the final boss first, but I kind of miss having the narrative journey most Zeldas take you on. If we were to, like, if you think about Skyrim, I'm sorry, that game, how they implement the story at so many different locations and all the side quests going on at the same time that have, some of them have a lot of substance to them, I think it'd be great. Like, think about Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask had so many side quests, but you also had that main mission going on all the time. Granted, it was hard to forget about it. There's literally a moon crashing down. You can implement a world like Majora's Mask with lots of side quests with a meaningful story. That'd be great. That'd be great. I just want Majora's Mask on the Breath of the Wild engine. I choose this username randomly, says Fee. 3 upvotes. I do miss having a companion, kind of giving you an idea on where to go and help you out and stuff like that, which I think would be a nice way for them to make a more advanced game, but then also have that feature for younger players. I actually have a lot of people who leave comments, and I've even met in real life, who are like dads, and they're like, oh yeah, my 5-year-old kid absolutely loves Breath of the Wild. He's not understanding some of the finer concepts of it, but he's still enjoying the game. And same way Mario Odyssey had like that easy mode that you have the extra life meter and you can't fall off. I think that'd be great. Amazing Nate is not on fire says, have a story after you beat Ganon. This was actually the most upvoted comment, 570 of them. And the first time I beat Ganon and then I saw that beautiful lush green hills and everything else, I thought that was the world now. Maybe also you get to see the castle being rebuilt. Maybe helping Zelda rebuild Hyrule. And the same way that you built up Tarrytown, you convinced people to come to Clocktown after you helped clean it up. And not Clocktown, but Castletown? You know what I mean. Camel, who has the most deep-fried emoji icon I've ever seen, says, a post-game, the ability to pet dogs, enemy dropping armor, blacksmith to repair weapons, and more story-driven game. I'm going to only really touch on the things that we haven't talked about, but the ability to pet dogs, quality of life improvement, 10 out of 10 would pet again. Enemies dropping armor, blacksmith to repair weapons. So this is similar to the idea of the crafting system, being able to repair stuff, which would be great. Going to a specific location, though, and maybe paying someone to be able to fix the weapons. There we go. That's another aspect to that. Enemies dropping armor. Yeah, to be fair, there's not a lot of bipedal human-shaped enemies in the game, but yeah, I could imagine like a helmet or something, or at least take it to the blacksmith and then he can smelt it down to make something for Link. That'd be pretty neat. Cambit24 says, a battle royale where you play as Tingle. RTK says, peace after Ganon and play as Zelda without getting mod. So a while ago I covered a mod for the Wii U where you get to play Breath of the Wild as Zelda. What if, now chaining on the idea before where you get to run around and have the champions and other Links help you out because of, I don't know, circumstances. You also have Zelda there, and after you beat Ganon, you save Zelda, and then Zelda's going around and like you need to do specific quests with her. Obviously, she can't battle as well, but she still has like an ability to defend herself, or she has guards with her. That'd be pretty awesome. Vigor Hugo Tardelli de Oliveira says, a Breath of the Wild sequel with time travel. I never played Oracle of Seasons or Ages, but I do believe that there's an item that you use it anywhere in a specific place and then it changes the circumstances, whether it be the seasons or the time. Hence, Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages. But imagine it be in an area and then you get to use an item, probably be a musical instrument, and then you get to go to a different time, or you get to view this area in a different time.
Let me guess. You're home?
And it was beautiful.
Super Retro Ben says, this would be very controversial, but personally, I would like an RPG leveling system, strength, speed, etc. Going back to how we were talking about the God of War abilities and everything else like that, being able to also increase your strength naturally, your speed, things like that, and have those as permanent effects, that'd be awesome. So yeah, more RPG elements. I'm a big fan of RPG elements. MW06 says, a special mode where you can pick a champion to play as and walk through the memories with Zelda and the others. This is getting to be a compilation of great things we talked about, of playing as the champions or other characters, and then you get to relive the memories as them. I just think about, like, what if in the Champions Ballad, when Link was in, like, super stripped down equipment going into those Divine Beasts, instead of being Link, you were the champions. And you got to avenge their death as them. That would be neat. That'd be really neat. Sarah Beth says, and rolling through Hyrule Field. I miss that too. I just replayed Ocarina of Time not too long ago, and soon as you make your way out of the Korok Forest, first thing you need to do is roll and do the side jump to get to Hyrule Castle before the drawbridge goes up on the first night. Yes, I miss rolling through Hyrule Field. Roleplay World says, being able to play as multiple people, not just Link, and maybe more bosses than just Ganon, like Skull Kid. This is getting on a big idea that I have. I'm going to talk about it at the end. It's going to be epic, I promise. Gary Lester says, riding a dragon. Gary, I see your face, and I see riding a dragon, and I just feel you. I feel you so much. I also want to ride a dragon. Do you want to ride a dragon? Spider-Man Noir says, Waluigi, and he got 89 likes. Skeptalatile says, I'd like a ton of bosses, and a super in-depth story with Ganondorf. And this one's impossible, but I'd also like to see Ganondorf be a hero or an ally to Link as he attempts to refuse his evil side Ganon. Well, yes, it is impossible. However, what if there was a greater threat than Ganondorf? The enemy of the enemy is my friend, right? And maybe, not directly, but inadvertently, you need to team up with Ganondorf, or you just kind of have the same objective. A ton of bosses, I think would be great. That just comes down to more enemy variety, which Breath of the Wild was lacking. Lauren says, rain every 10 minutes, duh. We needed more rain. Well, if you're a parrot in a rainforest, that makes sense. Agent Marie says, Zelda actually being playable for once. 100%. 100%. Dat cool guy Bernard also says Waluigi. Zlade the Master Gaming says, new unique tools and equipment with special abilities. Think of like a legendary weapon that has this specific bonus, or a specific piece of armor that grants you something magical and it only exists one place in the game. That'd be really awesome. Like a special snow quill tunic that, in addition to doing what a snow quill tunic does, it also increases your speed, or increases your arrow damage shot while in the air. Like awesome stuff like that. Crane says, I would like to see a reintroduction of hidden skills from Twilight Princess. Perhaps Link can learn to dodge combos other than Flurry Rush. Each weapon class could have its own unique combo. Elemental boomerangs, anyone? I've never ever heard anyone mention elemental boomerangs, but that sounds awesome. Yes, going back to the hidden skills in Twilight Princess, that'd be fantastic. Like that RPG progression system of learning those additional hidden skills, and maybe we could have past great warriors show up and teach you some hidden skills that you can't normally learn, like they're locked on the skill tree. That'd be dope. I'm getting myself too excited here. Spooky Person says, a prequel to Breath of the Wild detailing the events 100 years prior. Spoilers would not end well. Doggo says, an annoying fairy that goes, hey, listen, every 5 seconds. I miss companions, really do. Matt says, I would like to see the Hookshot and the Goron hammer, and for once to acquire the Triforce and utilize its power in some way. So you basically want to achieve what Ganon's been trying to do, get all 3 pieces of the Triforce? Maybe this goes back to when you have to team up with Ganondorf to do something amazing and go after a common enemy. The Hookshot in the game would be dope, as well as the Goron hammer, making those like exclusive weapons that can't break, and they're not great for combat, but they do serve some utility. That'd be dope. Super Toad Brandon says, I personally miss the classic dungeons, and I want their return. I'm sort of craving a classic Zelda game, even though the next Zelda is most likely to be Breath of the Wild. Yeah, we're covering that, but what if within Breath of the Wild, like, not just small little villages, but there's flourishing towns, and those flourishing towns have those dungeons inside of them. Yeah. Instead of right at the beginning, it's like, go to all 4. It tells you to go to 1, but you could do any of them. That'd be neat. PK Game says, I want a story like the other Zelda games, but I like how you get champions abilities for every boss, but they should add the dungeon items back and make the dungeons a bit harder and bosses all different like old games. No more only Calamity Ganon boss fights. I really do miss the variety of bosses. The Calamity Ganons they were neat, but at the same time, like, they could have done so much more. As far as, like, the textures and maybe a little bit of backstory on the bosses. The champion's abilities after every boss fight. I just think about the medallions or the remains in Majora's Mask. Granted, for every one of the areas that you got to go to, you get a new mask, which is dope, but combining things. That's what everyone wants. Everyone wants things combined. Thrax, oh god, lots of things here. Hookshot, rope, bottles, bombs to that move, then explode on contact, net to catch bugs or fairies, smoke arrows or bombs, or something that distorts or blinds mobs. The ability to dive underwater, better dungeons, and more bosses. Change views first person. I don't think Zelda would work good as a first person game. Go/pose, lanterns, chest to store gear. That'd be great. Clear up your inventory. I would like a standard weapon you can upgrade as you defeat dungeons or upgrade weapons in general, a magic meter. I'm personally a fan of the removal of the magic meter, and now it's an inventory-based system. You should be able to, like, craft those items. Like, you can craft fire arrows if you have, like, a flint and an arrow, and then you can make a fire arrow or something like that, or break down like a great flame blade and you get like fire elemental and then you combine that. That'd be really dope. A lot of these things here are things from other Zelda games, like the hookshot and the rope and the bottles. The smoke arrows, that's pretty unique. Being able to go into an enemy encampment, use smoke arrows to be able to, you know, disorient them, that'd be really dope. I like that. Favorite new ideas so far, smoke arrows, elemental boomerangs. Mr. Heller55 says, similar to Breath of the Wild, but with a large variety of enemies. Agreed. Oh, and things like small, normal, and large taluses. Well, we did have the little baby boys, but yeah, a variety in them. Being able to swim underwater and plenty of reasons to do so. Not just treasure, absolutely. Caves that act like mini dungeons, not just little holes in the wall. More weapons, better NPC interaction, not that it was bad, and much better, harder boss fights. Caves that act like mini dungeons. That'd be really dope. And then, like, once you go all the way to the back, you either get a whole bunch of resources or a rare weapon or a legendary piece of weapon or armor. That'd be great. We just want Zelda. A lot of these comments just want Zelda to be like Fallout and Skyrim. Ethan Robbins says Hookshot. That's it. Hookshot with Breath of the Wild engine. Yeah, 100%. I'm surprised this only got 89 likes. Mark says, a longer story like Skyrim long. Shack Pebble says, Wind Waker 2, with larger islands, more quests, fast travel, older Toon Link, 18 or over, ability to switch between Tetra and Link. Alright, so this is taking a lot of things that we said before, and take Breath of the Wild and flood it. Just take everything and increase the water level. What would that be like? Huh, that should be a video for Zelda month. Seth says, an area where time portals send Ganon and Link through the timeline, and Link allies with other Links to defeat the other Ganons, also Majora's Mask. When he defeats Ganon and Majora, and then gets sent back to his time after he got a special item so he can jump time whenever he wants, and you get a dragon. The time travel going through different eras, that's really neat. But I'm gonna blow your mind with this a little bit. This is actually the last comment. So yeah, now I know a lot of people here did not play Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, and I can't blame you. One of the things to know about that game is what it does is it has Ganon's soul fragmented into different parts throughout time and space. And then essentially giant wormholes opened, and Skyloft now was next to the desert and other things like that. I think they should expand on that. They should have all of those different wormholes open up, those various enemies all coming into existence. Okay, so grand scheme idea. Take the Breath of the Wild map. Take it exactly how it is, except where all the villages are, make them into larger communities. So you have much larger villages, and inside of the Lost Woods, we have the large dungeons. Like you have the Great Deku Tree, who passed away or died or he was sick or whatever. You enter him, and then there's stuff to do inside of there, and all this is done because of Ganon or Ganondorf, right? You go through all 6 or 7 areas and you assemble all these fragments of the Triforce. Let's run with this idea now, all right? You assemble all these fragments of the Triforce, you put them all together. You go to fight Ganon. Now, some other greater entity comes and destroys the Triforce, takes it, creates wormholes that rip it open into different times and space in the parallel timelines. And you have Skyloft there, and you have Termina there, and you have the Twilight Realm there, and all that. And then you need to journey to these areas, and you need to team up with the other Links to destroy those Ganons who have been possessed by this tainted fragment of the Triforce. And then after you help those Links come back with you to help you team up with Ganon to destroy this greater horrible enemy. And then after that greater horrible enemy is destroyed, you get to enjoy a post-game that includes rebuilding the area and closing all those portals. Yeah, that's the game. That is the game right there. Right there. Someone call up Nintendo. Get Reggie on the phone. We need this. That's the game that we all want. That's the game that we don't just want, we need that. And that would be Legend of Zelda Ultimate. Happy Zelda month. Leave a like down below. Till next time, Austin John out.